Have you ever walked into a room feeling totally fine, and a few minutes later you feel drained, exhausted, irritated even? Welcome to Tools to Manifest Your Dream Life with myself, Glennie Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. So have you ever had that experience where you walked into a room, you were completely fine, and then went downhill quick? Or maybe you had a relationship where it wasn't very good, and every time you tried to leave, you would remember all the good times and you would choose to stay again. Or maybe you just feel drained around certain people and you can't ever really figure out why, and you always think it's your fault. Well, that's what we're talking about today. Not from fear or paranoia or everything is an entity. We are talking about energetic awareness. Because one of the things that I've learned over all of these years is that many people are operating at the effect of the energy that they don't even realize they're aware of. And this is also an invitation to my upcoming 3-part series called Clearing What's Draining You, where we will look at all of this stuff and clear it once and for all. Link is above or below. If you don't see a link, reach out. And if you're listening via podcast, the link is in the show notes. So today I want to share some stories from past classes and sessions and even my own experiences, so you can start recognizing what is yours and what isn't. So years ago in one of my classes, there was a woman who was sharing how she would always work herself up to leaving this unhealthy relationship. And then at the moment that she got to where she was ready to go, she would start remembering all the good times. She would start living the fantasy of what a great guy he was and how kind he was and how nice he was. She knew something wasn't working. Her nervous system knew something wasn't working. Her body knew it wasn't working. And yet she kept being pulled back. What was interesting about her question is that it wasn't just about the relationship. It was that she finally started asking, what energy is actually happening here? Most people don't ask that question. Most people immediately make it psychological, but energy plays a much bigger role than many people realize. One of the things that I talked about in that class is how often we put people ahead of us energetically, meaning that you become more aware of what they need than what you need. Start organizing your life around managing someone else's emotional needs. And eventually you stop hearing yourself completely. I have definitely done this myself. Years ago in business, I was available constantly. Late night calls, weekend calls, early morning calls, changing my schedule for everybody else. I wasn't actually functioning from choice. I was functioning from obligation. And eventually, my body started telling me. I started feeling resentful and heavy, drained and tired all the time because I was overriding my own awareness. Now, if you heard yourself in that example or any of the examples that are coming up, just know at the end of this, I will share basically how to start changing this for yourself. And I'm pretty sure many of you will resonate with this story to some degree. There was a period in my life where I felt that being spiritual meant that I had to hold space for everyone. And honestly, it nearly wiped me out. I'd just walk into stores and I would suddenly feel anxious. And then I would leave feeling exhausted. I'd feel emotional for no reason. And I assumed, like many of us, it was all mine. Then one day I realized I am aware of everyone, and it isn't my job to do anything with that awareness. And that changed everything, because awareness does not mean ownership. I can perceive something without becoming it. It's truly one of the biggest mistakes that I see spiritual people make, is that if you're aware of it, you're responsible for it. You have to fix it. You have to do something with it. It's not true, especially if you were praised for being good or helpful. You've automatically taken on that role that anything you're aware of is your job. A lot of us were trained to monitor everybody else emotionally before we even checked in with ourselves, if we even checked in with ourselves. So your nervous system thinks keeping everybody okay is safety. And take it from me, that creates burnout fast. Another story from a different class where this woman was talking about a family gathering. She said the day was amazing. And later, everything exploded emotionally. And what we uncovered was something really interesting. She had spent years trying to create harmony for everybody else, never even considering it for herself. She became the emotional buffer for her family, the peacemaker, the one smoothing things over, the one calming everybody down, the one making things okay. And of course, after years of doing that, you stop checking in with yourself. You stop checking in if it works for you. In fact, you probably don't even realize you're doing it. And what we got to with her is that she felt that that was kindness. And what she realized as we talked about it wasn't actually kindness. It was self-abandonment disguised as kindness. Real kindness includes you. Another story is where a woman was talking about how her house always felt heavy after certain family members came to visit. And I expect more people experience this than even realize it. You know when someone walks in and the whole energy changes? You feel it instantly. The room tightens, your body reacts. And of course, most of us think, what's wrong with me? Instead of the question you want to be asking, what am I aware of? And here's where some people really get stuck with this sort of work. They become afraid of the energy. They don't realize that they have the choice to always be the most potent energy in their life if they would be willing to choose it. And once you start acknowledging how aware you are and that you are aware of energy, you can stop taking all of these energies you're aware of personal. You can stop trying to figure out where you're wrong or how you're wrong or what you're doing that's making this happen. You can stop acting like an energetic sponge, which is 110% freedom. And a lot of people like to blame bad energy or blame other people or situations and really do this kind of from the victim energy, which I have never seen be productive. I have never seen it create greater. If we can look at it from a bigger picture and really recognize that we are infinitely aware and we are aware of all, good, bad, ugly, everything in between, then we just acknowledge we're aware of it. We're not taking it on. We're not making it ours. We're not trying to fix it. We're not trying to blame anybody for it. We just start acknowledging what is true. We are infinitely aware. And that question I talked about earlier, what is this? That is your new best friend. If you are ready to start changing this stuff, what is this? The first thing that does is it acknowledges you're aware of it. You're not saying, why am I like this? What did I do wrong to create this? You're going, what is this? Boom, right away you've acknowledged you are aware of it. That's it, you're aware of it. What is this? What is this? Now, often when we ask a question, unfortunately, we don't get an immediate response. And the thing with asking questions is that we are asking energetically. We aren't asking so much for an answer. Because as soon as we start asking for answers, we're asking from our head rather than our awareness. So we can ask, what is this? And it can lighten up. So let's use an example. Let's say you walk into a room and it's really, really heavy. It's just really ick. And normally you would go into, okay, what's wrong with me? What just happened? What am I processing? What triggered me going into all of that? And now we've solidified it. We've taken it on as ours. Instead, walk in that room, feel that heaviness. We go, what is this? It will probably lighten up. And that's it. We don't actually have to know what it was, but in that lightening up, we've acknowledged it isn't ours. And we've got curious about it. And if there is anything else that we need to know about it, it will come in. But that lightening up is the magic right there, because we haven't it in. We've expanded it out and we're aware of it. We're not pretending we're not hiding it. We're not taking it on. We're just aware of it. That's it. So that is step one in terms of what to do when you're in situations where you are feeling heavy or off, or you just know something else is going on. Ask, what is this? Allow whatever to occur, whatever information you receive from that. And again, often it's probably just going to be an energetic lightness. And then what you can look at is, do you wish to stay? Does it work for you to continue to be in that situation? But I say that not from being a victim, not from, oh, it's heavy here and I must run away. Remember, you are always the most potent energy in your life, unless you choose otherwise. So you could stay in that situation and still be light, even if everybody else around you was heavy. You can still choose to be light because it's the choice in that moment. And there's going to be some situations where it's just going to be a no. So let's say in my case, if I went to a party and people were doing drugs and I walked in and I got that heaviness and what is this? There's the, I can okay, there's that lightness. And then maybe I got the awareness or could see people were doing drugs. For me, very likely, I would just leave. That isn't an energy I'm interested in being around. That, there's so many energies in that I'm not interested in being around. And it doesn't mean I'm a victim to it. It doesn't mean I couldn't stay there. I just mean I would prefer to be in other energies. And so really looking at that for yourself. And I know that's very solidified because it's like, I would never be around drugs. I don't really want it to sound like that, but I do know it's an energy and multiple energies that I don't choose to be around. So really recognizing that if you have some things that are just not of interest to you or to your body, then be also willing to leave. And there may be people in that situation that judge you for that or don't appreciate that you leave, or might even be what I call a poke in the eye. You're leaving because the energy isn't what you would like it to be for you, or isn't what your body would like. And that may not be appreciated by other people. Be willing to leave anyway. And in some situations, it might be where you just have to say, oh my gosh, I just got a text. I've got to run home to the kids or something like that. You don't even have to explain why. In fact, probably a lot of those situations, it's better not to, because the people choosing whatever they're choosing that isn't of interest for you to be around probably aren't going to understand where you're coming from. So just finding a quick way to get out in those situations. But just know there's probably many more situations where it will work for you to stay. It would be fun for you to stay. And you get to practice that energy of you being you, of you being the most potent energy in the room for you. Remember, allowing other people to choose what they're going to choose, and you get to choose for you. One of the ways when I'm in certain energies that, yes, I would like to stay in, and I'm aware of the heaviness and other gunk around, that I will choose in that moment to really increase my vibration, so to speak, is that I will expand out energetically. And this is something that I would say, it sounds really dramatic, but I would say it actually saved my life, because what I used to do years and years ago is I would walk into a situation, I'd perceive the heaviness, and I would contract. And what happens when we contract energetically is, instead of taking up, our whole body, we start, for the most part, we contract into like a little tiny little bit in our brain. And then what happens is any energy that comes towards us, it feels like a punch because it's hitting a very small part of us. And so what I learned to do was energetically expand out. So I would expand into my entire body, like to the tips of my ears, down to my toes, my fingertips, like I would become aware of my entire body. And then I would expand out further. I'd expand out into the country that I was in. And it's all in your head. You don't even have to move to do any of this. You could if you want to, but you can do it very, very quickly, where you just become aware of the entire country you're in, aware of the entire earth, aware of beyond the earth, just into all of you as the infinite being you truly be, above you, below you, in front of you, behind you, every direction around you. Yeah. And the more that you can do that, the much easier it will be for you to be in situations where you would have normally ran away or contracted or got sick or just felt really off. Because from that expansion, you're being all of you. You are being the most potent energy in your life from that expansion. And I went through it really quickly, but if you practice that and you do it often throughout the day, especially when you're in, I'm going to say, easy situations. So let's say you're at home just watching TV on the couch by yourself, expand out, like practice it, so that when you're in situations where it might be harder, or it might not, you haven't strengthened the muscle that much, by doing it in all those times where it's easy to do, you will have strengthened that muscle. It'll become a really magical place for you to be. There was a time I couldn't go to a mall more than 20 minutes. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous to me now because I can go. I mean, in fact, the largest mall in Edmonton, Alberta, I think it's the largest mall in Canada. I actually taught a 5-day class there and stayed at the hotel there. Like, I stayed in that mall for 5 days easily once I learned and taught myself how to expand out, whereas before 20 minutes max. So this is such a big thing for any of you, and you're still listening to this. Obviously, you are energetically aware. So the more that you can train yourself to expand out, the easier it will be for you to truly live your life and not be at the effect and start being the affect. Yes. So once again, I invite you to the 3-part series coming up May 20th, 21st, 22nd, clearing what's draining you, and let's get rid of this so you can be the most potent, magical energy in your life that creates beyond what you have never imagined possible. Have a great week, sweet friends. I look forward to chatting again soon.